everybody, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 here, and welcome to the long-awaited episode number 3 of Linux History Shorties. Today we are going to go over Debian for about 5 minutes or so. And to those who have not seen this series before, what I do is I look at a Wikipedia Linux article, read over it for about 5 minutes or so, and basically that's pretty much tell you all the history behind said Linux article. So without further ado, what do you say we get started with the history of Debian? Debian, also known as Debian GNU/Linux, is a GNU/Linux distribution comprised of free and open source software developed by the community-supported Debian project, which was established by Ian Murdoch on August 16, 1993. The first version of Debian, version 0.01, was released on September 15, 1993, and its first stable version, 1.1, was released on June 17, 1996. The Debian stable branch is the most popular addition for personal computers and servers. Debian is also the basis for many other distributions, most notably Ubuntu. Debian is one of the oldest operating systems based on the Linux kernel. The project is coordinated over the internet by a team of volunteers guided by the Debian project leader and free foundational documents. The Debian social contract, the Debian Constitution, and the Debian Free Software Guidelines. New distributions are updated continually, and the next candidate release is released after a time-based freeze. Since its founding, Debian has developed openly and distributed freely according to the principles of the GNU project. Because of this, the Free Software Foundation sponsored the project from November 1994 to November 1995. When the sponsorship ended, the Debian project formed the non-profit organization Software in the Public Interest to continue financially supporting development. Version release history. Debian distribution code names are based on the names and characters from Interesting. Debian's unstable trunk is named after Sid, a character who regularly destroyed his toys. Interesting once again. Founding 1993 to 1998. Debian was first announced on August 16, 1993 by Ian Murdoch, who initially called the system the Debian Linux release. The word Debian formed as a portmanteau of the first name of his then girlfriend, later ex-wife, Deborah Lynn, and his first name before Debian's release. The soft landing Linux system SLS had then been a popular Linux distribution and the basis for Slackware. The perceived poor maintenance and prevalence of bugs in SLS motivated Murdoch to launch a new distribution. Debian 0.01 was released on September 15, 1993, and was the first of several interval releases. Version 0.90 was the first public release, providing support through mailing lists hosted at Pixar. The release included the Debian Linux Manifesto, outlining Murdoch's view for the new operating system. In it, he called the creation of a distribution to be maintained openly in the spirit of Linux and GNU. The Debian project released the 0.9x versions from 1994 and 1995. During this time, it was sponsored by the Free Software Foundation for 1 year. Ian Murdoch delegated the base system, the core packages of Debian, to Bruce Perens, and Murdoch focused on the management of the growing project. The first ports to non-IA32 architectures began in 1995, and Debian 1.1 was released in 1996. By that time, thanks to Ian Jackson, the DPKG package manager was already an initial part of Debian. In 1996, Bruce Perens assumed the project leadership. Perens was a controversial leader, regarded as authoritarian and strongly attached to Debian. He drafted a social contract and edited suggestions from a month-long discussion into the Debian social contract and the Debian Free Software Guidelines. After the Free Software Foundation withdrew their sponsorship in the midst of the free software versus open source debate, Perens indicated the creation of the legal umbrella organization software in the public interest instead of seeking renewed involvement with the Free Software Foundation. He led the conversation of the project from a.out to a ELF. He created the BusyBox system to make it possible to run a Debian installer on a single floppy, and wrote a new installer. By the time Debian 1.2 was released, the project had grown to nearly 200 volunteers. Perens left the project in 1998. Ian Jackson became the leader in 1998. Debian 2.0 introduced the second official port, M68K. During this time, the first port to a non-Linux kernel, Debian GNU Herd, was started. On December 2nd, the Debian Constitution was ratified. And with that, people, I hope you enjoyed me reading a little bit about the history of Debian. If you all want to read the rest of the history of Debian, feel free to. But anyway, that is it for this edition of Linux History Shorties. In the next episode of Linux History Shorties, which I'll be releasing in a few months, we will be discussing a little bit about Slackware. So keep a lookout for the Slackware episode. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And until next time, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 saying see you later. Bye-bye.